Sorry to burst your bubble, guys, but Homelander is not the victim and he's not some misunderstood villain, okay? I've been seeing a lot of edits going around making sad boy like edits of Homelander like he was misunderstood and he was abused as a child. I get that. That was a core building block of his character in the first 3 seasons of the show. But what we saw past that showed that he doesn't care. That stuff doesn't affect him anymore. It's the people around him and his mental state declining that caused him to do all this bad stuff. He was tortured as a child. He didn't have any parents, and that can lead to fucked up stuff, but only to some extent. Does him having a fucked up childhood mean he had to rape Becca? Did him having a fucked up childhood mean he had to kill Supersonic, kill the Daredevil copy, torture half of the 7, rip Webweaver apart? Like, what are we doing here, guys? And then a lot of people bring up the comic and how the comic had a better ending because Black Noir was revealed to be a clone of Homelander and the show doesn't follow it, therefore it's bad. And they say this because in the comics, Homelander feels bad because he essentially went crazy because he wasn't doing all the bad things that he was being told he was doing. He believed he would black out or something and do all his atrocities, but it was in fact Black Noir pushing him towards this. But let's push that aside for a moment. Homelander still did a bunch of horrendous things both in the comics and in the show. It's been a major point in the show that Homelander is a man-child. Quite literally. He was experimented on from childhood and was never allowed to have a normal life, so he's never been given the opportunity to actually mature past being a child, right? He seeks attention from people who he would consider a mentor or parental figure. He craves validation, and if things don't go his way, he throws a fit, literally like a toddler. The whole reason Stan Edgar exists is to point out those things. Even the episode with Jonah Vogelbaum in season 1, where he was there to explain why Homelander is the way he was. He's a child that never got to grow up as a child was supposed to. And that, again, is a core part of his character. But no matter how fucked up your childhood is, it's not an excuse to go around and do half the things that he was doing. He has been alive long enough and had been given enough opportunities to be a better person, but he's only gone down further and further the path of being a fucking dickhead. Sorry, I'm really angry at all the people trying to make this like a Joker moment or something, like a misunderstood hero. I'm sorry, he's just not. The last scene where he is facing death, where he's feeling pain for the first time in his life, and he was crying like a little child, isn't to show that he was misunderstood or that he reverted back to being a toddler because he never got to live that life or he didn't have parents, whatever. And it's not there so we can empathize or feel bad for him. We're literally supposed to laugh at him, shame him. I mean, in that whole single scene, no matter how bad the ending was written, Anthony Starr has some of the best acting and conveyed the entire stages of grief that someone goes through. And with him losing his powers, that's a lot of grief. Homelander trying to use his powers desperately while clearly seeing they don't work is denial. Homelander trying to find Butcher without his powers and lashing out is anger. Homelander offering anything he possibly could to stop Butcher from killing him. You know, get a shapeshifter, fucking eat a shit on live television, is bargaining. Homelander saying you can't do this, you owe me, is depression. Homelander looking at Butcher as he's about to crowbar his skull is acceptance. Even if it's forced acceptance, he has to accept the mortality that he's in now. And even if it's out of order, the 5 stages don't always have to be in order. Everyone takes grief differently. Now, am I giving Eric Kripke a lot more leeway than I should? Perhaps, but Anthony Starr's acting really brought out what the script couldn't. And also, him saying, I am the Homelander, in the end can also be taken as anger as well. So, I mean, let's take another serial killer, for example. So, are you gonna feel bad for Jeffrey Dahmer? Are you gonna feel bad for that guy who rammed through a mother and their child street racing? Are you gonna feel bad for, I don't know, what, Zodiac killer? Just because a serial killer feels bad and they say, I messed up, I regret it, doesn't mean that you have to empathize with them. Sure, you can show empathy. When Homelander was crying on the ground, I felt empathetic. I didn't like it. I cringed out. But then you remember that this guy has done nothing but loot, murder, and kill everyone in his path. Homelander has shown no remorse for his actions throughout the entire show. At most, showing some sadness after doing something or something happens to him, like when Stormfront died or when he had to kill Black Noir, but never really regretting his actions, you know? He never says, "Aw, shucks. Why did I kill Black Noir? That was bad." He was just going, oh no, I had to kill him. He's rationalizing everything in his head. Homelander wasn't crying in the Oval Office because he realized what he had done. He didn't go, oh no, I have messed up and my actions have caught up to me. Homelander was crying because he had to finally face the consequences of his own actions for the first time. Just like anyone on the internet when they get doxxed the fuck out for being racist, he always considered himself above everything, above the law, above the government, above humanity. So when it all came crumbling down, his death was no more than a YouTuber apology video. Apologies, being empathetic, being sad, crying like a little child does not make your actions disappear. It can give you leeway, but in the case of Homelander, does he really need leeway, guys? Is he really misunderstood? What's there to understand? He had a fucked up childhood. Okay, a lot of us did. So, we don't go around killing everyone we see. To actually have some sort of closure, to make your actions disappear, you need to actually do something to make up for them. Be remorseful. Go through rehabilitation. Talk to the families of who you killed. I don't know. But Homelander would have never done that if he still had his powers. Homelander was so rotten to the core that if he was spared, if he was given the option to be spared, if he apologized to everyone, he wouldn't take that. He would never take that. And to all the idiots that are saying that Homelander should have lived, okay, cool. It is a cool concept seeing him live like a normal life without powers. But who's to say that he won't just grab Compound V from his own fucking apartment, guys? Did we watch the same show? Stop glorifying every villain, please. All these comments of all these LARPers and fucking, I don't even know, like men's men, hoorah, saying the villain should win sometimes. You know, sure, a villain should win sometimes. Why should Homelander? He's been winning for the past 4 seasons. Literally. He's been one step ahead of them for the past 4 seasons. I mean, yeah, villains winning are pretty cool. Like when Thanos won Infinity War, that was pretty cool. But like, you build up to a character like that. The writing didn't warrant that. And it was a pretty piss poor ending, all things considered. Literal scorched office. Where's Scorched Earth? Like, man, the more I rewatched the whole show again, and I was just sitting there like, if you rewatch season 1 again, it's a brand new show, and Gen V season 1 and season 2 are also way better than half of season 5 of The Boys, and that really annoys me because I was so invested in these characters. However, you will never catch me dead reading the fucking comics. Fuck that shit.